Would you like to learn the top AI tools to elevate your expert authority? Christine Blosdale will tell us how. She's the expert authority business coach, empowering entrepreneurs to become recognized leaders in their fields. So, Christine, please tell us, what are the top AI tools for entrepreneurs to leverage right now to elevate their expert authority?
AI Superwoman podcast with Patrascu shares the world's most innovative AI tools and processes to go from technophobe to AI pro, attract leads, close sales, automate your business, enhance productivity, and deploy AI agents to do your work.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me on your program. I appreciate the work you do. I admire the work that you do. There are some, if you you turn around and there's a new AI program, there's a new tool that you can use, but there's a few that I use and I use with my clients to help them get the word out about their business, their brand. And I try and keep everything as simple, easy, and fun as possible. That's sort of my trademark, right? Because if it's too complicated, people will shy away from it and not use the powerful tools that are available to them. So I have several, and I've whittled it down into 5 of the top ones that are listed in a free guide that I'm giving to your wonderful listeners if they'd like. And they all have links so that you can actually go and try out these tools. But I encourage people to take baby steps with AI, okay? Because it is a very powerful tool, you want to make sure that you give it the proper prompts. You want to make sure that you have the intent, whatever the intention is that you want to have happen afterward, you want to make sure that you go in with that. And so first, everybody's pretty familiar with ChatGPT, right? And it is a very powerful program. There is a new thing that's happened with one of my favorite AI programs that I use for taking my videos, my webinars, my workshops, my podcast episodes. I've got 3 podcasts. And so I already use Descript, which is wonderful to get captions, to edit your videos and things like that. But now Descript has joined forces with ChatGPT and Canva, very heavy hitters. So this trifecta, so to speak, with Canva and ChatGPT and Descript is a very powerful program combination that you can use to create all sorts of things. And so I encourage people to check that out. But I really love I like to call it the more sophisticated uncle of ChatGPT, which is Perplexity.ai. That's one of my favorites. I have been able to take content and craft 5 best-selling books. And part of that is because I use Perplexity to check the work that I've done, the writing that I've done, and to give me a different perspective, but a lot of times to also analyze it and say, if you were a top-notch publisher in New York City and you had me as your client, what would you change? What would you want to work out? Is it flushed out? Is it readable and enjoyable? And all of my books are they have a bit of humor in them. So I want to make sure that my humor is not, falling flat. So I use that as well. And then I can go on and on. There's quite a few more tools that I use. Is that okay to keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So even though I've got 5 best-selling books, and I encourage entrepreneurs of all stripes to write that book. To establish your expert authority, you need to have a couple things in place. You need a great website that tells your message and says who you are and what you do. But if you have a best-selling book, it just brings you up. I'm a podcast host just like you. And when somebody wants to be on my shows, I look and see if they've written a book. And if it's a bestseller, they've moved up the ranks, okay? Because that means they have great follow through. That means that people get them and they have something that I can talk about in the interview. So creating those books, a lot of times people say, well, I don't want to write a Tom Clancy novel. I don't know the first thing about writing a book. As long as you know your topic and you're passionate about your topic, right? You can have a best-selling book. Now, I'm not a writer. I am a talker. As you could tell, I am a talker. So I have lots of videos on workshops that I've done, speaking engagements, webinars, podcast episodes. And so with the help of AI and this one program called Video to Blog, video to blog, you can take your long format videos, throw it into this AI system, and it will create beautiful blogs, columns, articles, listicles, summaries, you name it. And you can tell it, I want it to be long, I want it to be friendly, I want it to be formal. You can give it the prompts that you need, and it puts out this amazing content, basically, that you can repurpose and put into chapters in a book, if you like, or modules in a course, if you wanted to. So that's a huge time saver. And I would say that all of my books, well, the four of the bestsellers have been by using that tool. Because again, I'm not so much a writer. I like to talk and express my expertise. So that's what I've done, and it's helped me tremendously. Another thing, that I use a lot of is CapCut, because I am a TikTok freak. I love TikTok, and I encourage people to, if you want to get the word out about your business, a static image on a website it only goes so far, and video is where it's at. And as you know, as a podcaster who does both audio and video has this ability for people to look into your eyes and to feel you, see you, hear you, and make sure that you're not like shifty-eyed or anything like that, but you can come across really powerfully. And so I encourage all my clients to do video, and CapCut allows you to do snappy little edits with captions and stickers and all kinds of things. You can get really creative with CapCut. So I encourage people to try that out. It's free. I have the pro version because I invest so much time in creating videos, and I don't just post those videos on TikTok, but I put them on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and I see where they're playing their strongest. Some platforms, it gets a lot of hits, a lot of comments, and other ones might fall flat. So I'll focus my efforts on those particular platforms. There's a lot more, but there's more stuff in the guide.
Thank you. Tell us about Perplexity, for example. So let's say that you write a really great book. These books that you wrote, are they also written with ChatGPT, or are you wrote them yourself?
No, and this is something that I really want to encourage. You want to think about the ethical implications. So I prefer to use any sort of AI to enhance the copy that I've already created. And that may mean I will put like a bio or a description of the book. On the back of books, you always have information about the book, so people want to pick it up, and I'll write that out, and I'll put it through a Perplexity, and I will ask certain questions of it. If I was an entrepreneur who's thinking about doing some social media or working on my branding, what are some points here that I can stress? What are some a different way of saying something? I really encourage people, please do not let any AI create the content for you. There's nothing that beats the human being. Okay. Your experiences, your wisdom is gold. And if people will read it and they'll know that it's AI. There are bots that are on a lot of platforms. Amazon, they check for that kind of stuff. And you don't want to be labeled as somebody who does not have original content. Use it to enhance. Use it to maybe even think outside the box a bit, but I really encourage you not to let AI create the content for you, create the copy for you. It's really important.
Thank you. Can I ask you, when you place, for example, your original content into Perplexity, and Perplexity changes it up a little bit, doesn't that become unoriginal now because it's edited by Perplexity?
It depends if you take it or not. It depends on if I find what I found with ChatGPT versus Perplexity is that a lot of times they would be taking the stuff that I have and changing it into something that it sounds too extraordinary, right? The renowned Christine Blosdale. Well, do people know me? Yes. So it gives you food for thought so that you can actually change and adapt the way that your copy is being read. But I really do not want anybody to sit there and think that that the AI is actually creating the content for you. If you have some stuff that's missing, you can ask the AI, hey, with this biography, Is there anything that's missing? Go to my website, take a look at is there anything that I did not mention or that I forgot, those type of things. And that will be very helpful for you because it's already stuff that you've already created. It's just that you've forgotten about it. So those are type of things that you can do. When it comes to having AI create chapter titles and things like that, again, I would still stay away from that, but I would ask, does this hit home? Is this a good title for this particular chapter? And then it will give you feedback based on that.
Thank you. What has been the most effective AI tool that you have used to elevate your expert authority?
Oh, there's so many. One brand new tool that I've just come across, and I think it's brilliant, and it helps me so much, is I need to get the word out on my business, right? Or the books that I've written, whatever it is that I'm focusing in on. And a big part of that, and I tell all of my clients, you need to get on podcast shows. There are so many out there that whatever your expertise is, there is a podcast for that, right? And your audience that you have on Facebook or Instagram is only so large. And so you want to get out to those other audiences, those people that would never know anything about you. So I really encourage them to start getting booked on podcasts. Now, that can be a very daunting process. And you want to make sure, of course, you have a good website, a great bio, all of your ducks in a row before you even approach a podcast host. But there is an AI program called PodPitch that I am addicted to. And in 2 weeks, I've bookings of over 20, 25 different shows. It's because this AI program knows my expert authority, knows the topics that I can talk about, and then they not marry you, but they hook you up with podcast shows that are in alignment with what you do. So if you're into vegetarian recipes and you've written a book on vegetarian meals, you can find those podcast shows that talk about vegetarianism, talk about healthy eating, talk about diet and exercise and things like that. And so it's a brilliant system. It saves me so many hours and time and frustration. But that is a great tool for all entrepreneurs to take a look at, and it's called PodPitch.
Thank you. In terms of creating shorts out of long videos, what have been the most cost-effective and accurate platforms that you have used leveraging AI? I have used Opus Pro and some others. So I'm wondering whether you have another one that is more effective, more accurate, and more cost-effective than that.
And I haven't tried Opus yet, and I want to. I've heard good things. You're the second person this week that's talked about it, so I'm going to have to dive into it. I actually, I've signed up for the pro version of Descript, and they have this thing called the Overlord, and so you can take if you're a podcaster and you've done video, you can take your long format videos and throw it in there. Of course, it'll do your captions and all that great stuff. It takes out your uhs and ums, which was for me, a game changer, but it'll also do highlight clips. And you tell it how many you want. You want 5 of them, 6 of them. You tell them approximately the how much time you want, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And what we'll do, it will go through that entire video and pick out the highlight clips. So it might be a really powerful moment between you and a guest. It might be something that is exciting on the algorithm, and it rates it as like this is an 80%er. It also has a brief summary of that highlight clip. So you can take a look at it and you can go, I like this one. I like that one. That's what I do when I have podcast guests on and I publish the show. I make sure that I send them a few highlight clips so that they can put it on their social media. And it's just a great way to promote your episode. Or if you're doing a workshop or webinar and you have video, you can create highlight clips from that.
Thank you. Can I ask you, why are you leveraging, for example, Perplexity and not ChatGPT for the same task of editing your work?
You know what? It's just a preference of mine. And even though I love ChatGPT and I really love what Descript is doing now with ChatGPT and Canva, I think it's a very powerful tool. I tend to like it seems more, ChatGPT seems a bit more conversational, whereas Perplexity seems to be a bit more going out and gathering. It's more like going out and gathering what the consensus is. And I just find it easier to use. And it's gotten to know me. So it's gotten to know what I like, what I don't like. And it's very fast. Well, they're all very fast, but this to me seems to be extremely fast. But I would give it a try and see, if it's something that you're comfortable with. It's along the same lines, very important on how you prompt it.
Thank you. What other top AI tools are there to elevate your expert authority?
Well, for me, when I was doing workshops and webinars in the beginning, when I first started, I would just come on, I'd have people in the audience and I would do my Zoom presentations and it would be my talking head, right? And I'd be talking about whatever, how to create a podcast, how to do social media videos, those things. And then I was like, I'd like to have a bit of guidance on all of these great things. I want to make sure that I don't miss certain things. So I needed to have a presentation. I wanted to have that presentation also so people have something to look at while I'm talking. And, everybody is familiar with PowerPoint and Canva for creating presentations, but I love Gamma.ai, Gamma, Gamma. And Gamma creates these very slick, beautiful presentations that you can incorporate your branding. I like the modern look and feel of it. I'm very, I'm a little bit monochrome in my branding, but I do like that I can incorporate all of that. The images are high resolution images. You can put your own images in there, or you can ask the AI to create them for you. So if I was doing a presentation on podcasting, I can ask the AI to create an image of 3 people around a table with podcast microphones, and it will come up with all these different sort of graphic designs and things like that. Some of them are spot on and really good. And then, with AI, sometimes they throw out something and you're just like, no, that's absolutely not it. So you have to kind of play around with it. But Gamma is great for presentations. Yeah.
Thank you. What other AI tools have you leveraged to elevate your expert authority?
I tend to stick with the ones that really just keep me intrigued and that I use a lot of. So those ones that I had mentioned, of course, Perplexity helps me, but video to blog is amazing. Not only am I able to take workshops that I've done, presentations that I've done, and turn them into blog to copy that's enjoyable to read, but it does it extremely fast. And I can change the tone of it at any moment. So I have copy. That means I have SEO on my website. That means that I have copy for social media. LinkedIn loves copy, not so much on Instagram because you're relegated to a short amount of space. But those tools are really powerful for me. And of course, CapCut, because I do so many videos. I like doing the videos and I'm able to reach an audience that I normally couldn't. And with TikTok and their algorithm, I'm able to reach my tribe or my community much easier.
Thank you. In terms of getting pitched to podcasts or getting featured in the media, is there any AI that you use in order to kind of share the message, to distribute it to more people?
I tend to, with PodPitch, it's helped me quite a bit reach my genre when it comes to podcast hosts. And it also has, what I like about it is that it's enabled me to start following those hosts. Like I'm a follower now and I subscribe to your podcast, right? And so it opens me up to people and to ideas and concepts because I like to learn a lot. So that's a very powerful thing. What I encourage people to do is to think about all of the different platforms that they can market their business. So yes, being a guest on podcasts is important. Doing co-ventures like Minds. If you have 3 or 4 experts that are similar to what you do, but maybe they're different, they have different backgrounds, different expertise, join forces. Those co-ventures, going it alone is fine, but if you're able to join forces with other people, that expands your network tremendously. And then I also say, good old local, I know it sounds crazy, but local television, there's some online news networks you can be a source on. Source Bottle is here in Australia. I'm located here. SourceBottle is a great place for experts to get interviewed for magazines, newspaper articles, but also television. And in America, it used to be Help a Reporter Out, but now I think it's called Sission, I think is what it's called. But it's if you look up Help a Reporter Out, it'll relocate you. That's in the US, and it's very, very powerful for authors, for people to get the word out. There's so many different things that you can do, but you got to be prepared. So have a media kit, have a website that looks and sounds really good before you start pushing yourself out into these platforms.
Thank you. Tell us more about what is the main thing that you generally tend to teach in terms of elevating your expert authority, not necessarily leveraging AI, but in general, what is the main thing that you tend to like coach your mentees?
Well, first thing I will definitely, if it's a business, I will take a look at their website. And I luckily I have a lot of training in content and also user friendliness. I worked for America Online many moons ago, before you were even born. I worked for America Online as a columnist in the entertainment section of AOL, and I had to really write my copy for anyone from 8 years old to 80. And so that's a very wide audience, right? But I had to make sure that my message and my the content that I was putting out was crystal clear. Okay. And as business owners, sometimes we live in a world where we don't see outside of the box. We already know what we can do, and we just assume that the outside world will know. No, you need to tell them what it is that you do, and you need to tell them what you're really good at, what you're an expert at. Okay. That's extremely important. Even though you know it and your family knows it and your neighbors know it, the outside world doesn't. So that's really important. And I'll take a look at people's websites first and foremost to see if their messaging is coming across. And then I work intuitively with people. I have some clients that are in their 80s. And I have one client now I'm working with. She's 82 and she wants to create her own podcast. And she's perfect for it because she can speak like nobody's business. And she's going to be learning how to create her own podcast. But more importantly, I do feel that there's going to be a biopic on her life, a film. And so we're working on creating that in the background, basically just getting her some interviews and building up that bio for her so she can step out. She's the first Australian woman to fly a hot air balloon and have a hot air balloon business. Very male dominated field. And so it's exciting to work with her. And the moral of the story is you're never too old to go after your dreams and your passions. And you've got a lot to share with the world. So I encourage people of all ages to share their wisdom and their expertise.
Thank you. In terms of elevating your expert authority with AI tools, would you say that you leverage, for example, ChatGPT or any other AI tools in order to give you a run of ideas of potentially what to write? Or do you use another tool for that?
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that quite a bit because, again, we live in a silo sometimes with our own business, and we think, well, this is what I'm an expert at, and this is what I can teach, and this is what people want. And sometimes that's not the thing. When you ask AI, ChatGPT or Perplexity or anything like that, when you ask them questions about, here's my avatar, here's my perfect client. They're between this age and this age. They're, whatever you want, the parameters that you want. And you want to ask it, what is it that they're struggling with? Now, I hate to say pain point. I hate to say, you need to find that pain point with people. You need to find where they're struggling. And if you have a remedy for that, if you have something that can help them with that. My thing is that I help overwhelmed women in business specifically. I help overwhelmed women in business handle all those different things, social media, the marketing, speaking events and things like that, so that they can get over the imposter syndrome, so that they can get over the comparison model, the idea of scarcity mindset, all of that, so that they can shine and that they can focus in on their gifts and their talents. And then that way they can get that message out. So it is very important to find out with Perplexity or ChatGPT, what's missing? What are people really needing in your avatar, in your group?
Thank you. In terms of creating an expert authority influencer website, are there any AI tools that can be leveraged to critique what you already have on your website or to replicate the general idea of another website that you would like to model?
I think, and if I haven't asked that of Perplexity yet, but I do believe that if I put that into the question and said, here's my website and this is what I do, can you give me some others, other websites, other creators, other coaches that do things that are similar? It will do that because it does scan. It's and it's extremely fast. When I talk to people too about their website, one of my favorite things, and you can use AI to create those videos, but when you pull up a website, there's nothing more powerful than actually having a video of you talking to the person that's come to your website, right? And I love when I go to my clients and they've listened to me and I go to their website and boom, there's a video and it's got captions and it's got really good editing and it looks professional, and you immediately become a bit more endearing to that person instead of just a sterile, website with lots and lots of copy. Less is more when it comes to that kind of thing. So, yes, you can use that. You can use AI to find out about, I hate to say competition, but people in your same industry. How's that?
Thank you. I use AI tools for a lot of different things. And I find that AI tools can help you to elevate your expert authority, even sometimes when you are not expecting. For example, let's say you are a really amazing guest, which you are. After this podcast, I'm going to write you a very nice review. And after that, I'm going to give you this very nice review with my name and my website. Okay. So
Yes.
when, let's say you put that on your website and you will say there, I am blah, blah, and then I'm really awesome, whatever. And then, my website is going to be there. What happens is that people will see me on your website and that will elevate my authority.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay. That's a very interesting.
Well, also if you come on my podcast, which I would love, then we'll even triple that. So that'd be great.
So the second thing I do that I actually use ChatGPT to write the review, and that way I write a more comprehensive review. Because what happens is that if I say just Christine is awesome or Christine had a great interview, then that doesn't really elevate your authority enough in the eyes of someone who is kind of like seeing that, right? So that's why I use a little bit of extra time.
I love it.
A more comprehensive prompt to ChatGPT, and then I write a longer review, a lot longer than anyone would expect. And because of that, again, that elevates your authority, it elevates mine as well. And by collaboration, it's like we are elevating each other. And at the same time, we're creating a circle of trust. Because I would never write a really great review for someone who actually didn't do so well,
Right. Right.
And thirdly, I would say that most people actually don't bother to write a review. And because I do, and because I always write long reviews for everyone, I find that it's the extra thing, it's the little thing that make a lot of difference in terms of making you feel really special. And my intention is to make every person feel special. And that's not the only little thing that I do. And it's not little really for me, because it's like I'm looking at how can I, not to do the very little to actually get a big impact, but how can I do more, but at the same time, like, do those little tiny things that kind of really move the needle forward in terms of making people in general feel special. And through that, I feel great. So I feel that it elevates my authority as well, because you will think of me differently if I was just someone who, let's say, interviewed you and then said bye, and then that's like the end of it. Whereas if I took the time to do that, and then I'm going to be taking the time to do other things for you and try to introduce you to other people. And, there's a lot of different things that happen in collaboration with AI tools. And it's all about leveraging these tools to magnify what you're already doing.
I love that. I love that. That it is. Not to create for you, but to magnify your thoughts, your comments that you have. And I think that's really important. And as somebody I was a producer and host in radio for 20 years. I have been doing podcasts for 10 years. When a guest follows through and promotes the episode that they were on, comments about my performance, things like that, they are so much more likely to be brought back, right? To be brought back, they do move up the scale in my mind as somebody that's professional and that warrants my attention. And if I can put them into an opportunity as well, because I believe there's so much to go around, then I definitely will. And I just thought of an opportunity for you that I'll let you know afterward. Yeah, but it's thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. The other thing is that I take the time. Now, at the moment, I've been suspended by LinkedIn for using my team to manage my account. But anyway, I'm in the process of hopefully regaining access. But when I was on LinkedIn, I was taking the time to write reviews for as many people as possible. Because again, you can write the same review that you put on the website, you can write it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And because most people don't have enough reviews on LinkedIn, and it looks really badly if you have like a poor, let's say, profile on LinkedIn. And if you have a really long review from someone, it really elevates your authority. Okay, so that's why you can leverage the AI to write it and then post it for someone there. What happens again is the same collaborative authority that kind of gets shared. And because what I've noticed as well, when I'm looking to buy a program from someone, I'm looking at their website, I'm looking at their reviews, and I'm looking at the website of the people that are reviewing that person as well. And sometimes I'm thinking, wow, this person is really awesome. I should really follow them too. So that's another way to kind of hack your way into elevating your authority as well. Can you tell us, are there any habits that you have that enable you to leverage more and more AI tools? Or because I find that there are so many, there's an overwhelm of AI tools. How would you say an entrepreneur should go about coping with what I would say? It feels almost like you're getting swamped by so much information, so many possibilities, so many tools, so much money to be tried out on, $20 here, $50 there, whatever. It ends up being a gazillion pounds. So what would you say someone should do in order to make sure that they're not wasting money kind of trying a zillion tools and figuring that some of them are not so good?
Yeah. Well, I would say that it's important to focus because we can be overwhelmed and we could start throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks. Well, I'll try this, I'll try that. And that happens with a lot of my clients who've just starting off with their business, right? They're overwhelmed because they got to do this, they got to do that. I need to be an expert in marketing. I need to be a copywriter. I need to be an accountant, all those different things. So what I like to say, because I'm a creation machine. I love creating podcasts. I love creating books. I love creating workshops and all those different things. And what I found is when you're really passionate about a particular thing and it's easy for you could spend hours doing it. Even if you got paid or if you didn't get paid, it didn't matter. Then you can focus in on the tools that help you do that. Right. So for me, I love creating videos. I love doing the short form viral videos. Some of them are business related, right? And some of them are just pure entertainment for me, right? Because that's how I'm a humorous person and I like to be silly. So I will focus on those AI tools that help me do that so that I can create more content. The more consistent you are, as you know, the more consistent you are with your content on social media, the more followers you get, the more comments that you get, the more engagement that you can have. And so that's why I focus in on that. Now, if I was someone who was more of a public speaker, right, and wanted to get gigs speaking at different conferences and things like that, then I would focus in on that and not so much my short form videos. So it just depends on your business. It depends on what you're really excited about. If you hate writing, if you hate, the whole idea of publishing or self-publishing, then maybe you would put that on the back burner for right now. But I love it all. I just love creating, and I love co-create. I love co-ventures. I love working with other experts. I have no qualms. I don't worry about, they're going to take my clients, or there's, not enough room for two. I think that when you bring 2, 3, 4, 20 minds together that are really talented, I think the audience gets a much better product, a much better end, to their education. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
Yes. So it's super simple. It's expertauthoritycoach.com. That's the best way to find me, expertauthoritycoach.com. And I would love, like I said, to give your wonderful listeners and viewers that free top 5 AI tools that I use. And again, that's for entrepreneurs and people maybe who are timid about getting into AI tools, but it's something that I think that will help them a lot.
Follow me for more AI productivity tools.